meditation, mindfulness, and personal transformation session. As each of us enters the temple, imagine going just a little bit deeper into the part of you that is wise, that is mindful, that is empowered. As we start slowly to generate power within ourselves, each breath you take, bringing more focus, more centeredness, more strength.
Hi, I'm Stitch. That's the name now. I'm Stitch now. I'm just
Yeah.
cool like that.
We're live streaming, so please grab a cushion and just join
Okay.
into the session. Thanks.
You take my place. It's fine.
I don't know what happened.
All right. So we're just going to begin with setting our intention. So it's great to have you all here. And this beginning it's meant to be ritualized to bring more enthusiasm or more power every time we do it. So I invite you to just reflect, why are you here? And I invite you to set the intention that you will make the most of every moment, that you'll give yourself the gift of not just kindness, but beautiful encouragement, that you'll set the intention that you are cultivating yourself to be the wisest, most wonderful, caring, joyful, brilliant version of yourself. But make it even bigger. Imagine a world where everybody is kind and caring and encouraging. So set the intention that what we practice is making that world. We are citizens of that world, a wise, caring, kind, enlightened world. And we practice so that we may help others to also be that. So we can take a seat now. To those of you who are here on the live stream, welcome. I'll be checking the chat. If you'd like to say anything or ask questions, please take part. And to those of you who are new, these sessions, they're for you. I want you to be as transformed and awesome as possible. So please try and think of what will help you most, what questions you want to ask. Anything you're skeptical about, ask. Let me show you the power of transforming our mind and how it can really work anywhere and everywhere. It's great to have some people there on the live stream already. I'll check in your messages from time to time. So I wanted to start today's session by diving straight into a meditation. For those of you who are new to meditation, there are many kinds of meditation. We're going to dive into a guided meditation. Guided meditations can also have many forms. I'm going to let this one just carry its own like creating art on the fly. I'll see where it takes us. So I invite everybody just to get comfortable. I'm swaying my shoulders a little bit, rolling my spine, just finding myself getting in a posture that feels good. Give my neck a bit of a stretch, my shoulders back, feel my spine move a bit, and then let it settle at a position where, oh, that feels good to sit up straight like that. And then I close my eyes and I invite you to do the same. If you're new to meditation, and why are we closing our eyes? It's just a bit of time to be with your own mind, to let everything else disappear. And I want you to notice what it feels like to intentionally take some slower, deeper breaths. And each time you breathe out, just enjoy the feeling of letting go slowly, calmly. For those of you who've practiced meditation or practiced relaxation techniques, maybe you're already feeling really good. And I just invite you to watch how you move your attention and your state of mind, and just let yourself flow into infinite equanimity, beautiful sensations in the body. Imagine profound peace in the mind. But if you're newer to meditation, you've taken some deep breaths and maybe it's a bit relaxing or maybe not, I just invite you to watch. And any moment that it feels good or soothing, just watch how you put your mind into that. And as we hold our attention more on peace and feeling good, we learn how to do that more and more. And so each breath, you can feel more peaceful, more calm. And I invite you to really focus on the feeling of each moment of the breath. Your state of consciousness, peaceful and expansive. So if you notice yourself thinking or any words in your mind, bring your attention more onto feeling the breath and feeling peace. Try to hold your attention in the feeling of more and more peace. And just like after you have laughed really hard, things just feel funnier and happier. Or after dancing, you feel more energetic and joyful. Or after really caring conversation, there's this flowing feeling of care and warmth and comfort. As you breathe and cultivate peace, just letting yourself enjoy that you are creating a deeper sense of calm and peace inside yourself. And compare just hearing the idea, oh yeah, a peaceful person, and then compare that with what it feels like to be around the most peaceful people. Or even imagine what it would be like to be inside the mind of someone who's perfectly enlightened. Pure, perfect tranquility, peace, and strength, and awareness. So to compare just that idea with really being, it's a spectrum. How much time have we spent experiencing and practicing? So we're just going to spend more breaths cultivating, practicing your most peaceful and powerful self. If there's any issues on your mind, you can just say to yourself, I can let them go. Right now, I'm just practicing pure peace. And if they come back to your mind again, it's okay. I'm just practicing what it is to direct my attention onto feeling the breath and feeling the peace. Imagine in a moment you'll take a breath where every single little moment of the breath you'll be feeling it and just diving into relaxation. So as your next in-breath starts, give every moment of that breath your attention on the soothing feeling. You may find the muscles in your body relaxing and your posture subtly changing. You may feel your state of mind, your state of consciousness changing, letting go, being more free. We'll have just a couple minutes more of this meditation. So treat each moment as precious. It's a chance for you to practice beautiful feelings that will flow through into the rest of the session, that will be part of you, You're giving yourself a gift of peace and joy, power. Every moment, cherish it. Feel the peace in your consciousness. And then you can let the concentration rest and just let yourself enjoy how you feel. Maybe notice what it's like to put on a little smile or take a happy breath. Many of you would have noticed that, wow, a little happy breath just felt really good. It's like by clearing away the clutter in the mind, you can more easily dive into joy. Or you could take a caring breath and feel appreciation and care for your friends and family. Some of you might notice that you just feel really still. It's a beautiful peace. And you can become aware of everybody that was meditating with us. Now, everybody had some kind of nice feelings or awareness or insight. Let's just take a few deep breaths together and appreciate that together we practiced. And I notice as I think of each of you, those of you who I know personally, it feels good to think of the goodness you just practiced into taking that into different parts of your life. Things we've talked about, maybe things we haven't. And those of you who I don't know, I imagine who knows what this goodness will do for you. You feeling good makes me happy. You taking more peace or kindness into your life makes me happy. So I invite you to think of each other and just appreciate the positivity that we've all cultivated in our own ways. We've all cultivated something good. And when we're ready, I invite you to stretch a little bit, maybe smile a little more. You could look around and just feel the joy and the peace and appreciate each other. Let yourself imagine what other people might have created and just feel more of that goodness as you just experience each other's minds. Fictional Cat has sent us a love heart on the live stream. Good to have you here with us. Love hearts out to all of you. So to those of you who came in halfway through the meditation, I hope that was nice, that you could sit in and feel part of it. Good. It's a real pleasure to have you here. Now I have to admit that this week I had a lot of different requests for topics for this week, and I wasn't able to put it together into a theme. So I was planning to kind of ad lib tonight, see where you guys take it, what's great for all of you. I had questions about meditation. I had questions about compassion. I had questions about trust and how to deal when someone's hurt you. I had questions about community. And I'm sure each of you also has questions about anything happening in your life or your mind or your practice. So tonight, as I said at the start, tonight it's for you. It's for all of us. So does anyone have anything they really want to share or ask? Maybe that came up in that meditation, or maybe you've been thinking about or dealing with this week. Gignificent?
One of the hurdles that I've come to realize is present in my progression. So I have a very technical mindset, right? And so I tend to think very quickly about certain things. I tend to analyze certain things very well, in detail and very quickly. But that comes with a caveat for what we're trying to do here, and that immediate analyzation, that fast thinking can be a hurdle to what we're doing. So in a sense, my brain is expecting what I'm coming to realize my brain is expecting is what could be described as instant gratification. And as such, it gets distracted very easily. Is there any tips that you could possibly provide me to help overcome that?
How is your mind if you're doing something that requires practice? Like, how are you if you do weightlifting or make art?
I guess if I'm really working on something, then I do find it a little easier to focus. So are you saying something like maybe doing an activity while trying to get into the mindset of meditation might help?
I was actually thinking while meditating to have that feeling that you're working on your mind. Your brain, your consciousness, your thought patterns is the most wild, amazing, complex, powerful thing that any of us ever have. And I don't want to take the attitude of, hey, we meditate and it's just peace in our mind. Our intellect's not there. Like, you learning how to get millions of neurons firing in sync and focused, that is wild. That's intense. I think it's more powerful than weightlifting. So, if your question was about the practice of meditation, I invite you to bring that same kind of awesomeness to
the
your
same focus
concentration.
and attempt to take that same focus of what I would be doing to work on something over to meditation. I can see how that would work.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So that's in regards to bringing ourselves to the practice. These sessions aren't about meditation. If everybody just meditated, I would feel that it was a waste of time. Yes, I want everyone to meditate, the same as I want people to exercise, but we don't exercise for exercise sake. We exercise so we feel more energetic and we're more alive and life is better. And so ultimately I do these sessions because I want all of your lives to be better, empowered, strong,
Right.
happy. And so your analytical mind, if it thinks that you have millions of brain programs, what's your reaction here? What's your habit here? How do you think about this? If you watch with all of your analytical mind, all the different programs you have, you will see that putting your focused attention onto each one of those things and deciding how to transform them, how to optimize them, which things to let go of, which things that you don't have but would be really important to practice. It's a wild intellectual endeavor, transforming yourself.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Now, some people might be saying, hey, while we're meditating, it's not all this intensity. There is a great peace that we can get. And I think these two things actually go hand in hand. As you bring more and more of your attention all united, then the other noise gets transformed into focus until eventually your whole mind is focused. And in that is this profound peace and stillness. So you can do both. And for people who don't feel like their mind's super analytical, that's also okay. You know, the meditation we just did, as we were breathing, I said, just feel the peace. And just letting yourself enjoy it and watch how your mind goes there. You don't need anything analytical if you don't want. It's just like if you had some clay and you're doing pottery, you're kind of just feeling it and enjoying it and making it more beautiful. So whether you want to feel your way into it or think your way through it or conceptualize how you practice, I think ultimately it's good to be able to bring as many different minds as possible, as many different approaches as possible. But whichever ones seem to stand out more to you, great. I know for me, I really love math and thinking like equations of how my mind would change as I put effort into different things and what my rate of change would be if I put my focus or my practice in different ways. That was super empowering and liberating for me. If you're an artist and you like to think of your mind as a painting and just thinking, which parts of the painting do I want to repaint? And what would my mind look like if I transformed it? That's also great. Whatever you feel like your mind is like, use it to make your mind more beautiful. Thanks for a wonderful question, Geeknificent.
Thank you for a wonderful answer.
Hey, my pleasure. Fluffy Puppy, you had something you wanted to ask or say?
Yeah, I actually was gonna say something. During the meditation, I actually smiled at some, like, in mid-meditation. And we had talked about this. We had talked about smiling as we meditate. And somewhere inside my head, I felt great as I smiled. It felt nice. Like, that great feeling when you smile. It felt good. Like it was the first time I ever felt good when I smile as I meditate. I don't even know what else to describe about it. It's just, it feels wonderful.
So I just want to say to everybody, Fluffy Puppy's been here to meditate with us before, and often she giggles and she's full of joy. And
Yeah.
to hear you say that this was the first time that the smile was wow, it's just something that I love about meditation, is that you can get to a state of peace or get to a state of happiness, but then the next time you go in, it's just like so much more amazing than the last one was just like, yeah, that was just beginner happiness. And then you're like, wow, that was wild. And then maybe you hit another level that's like, wow, even more wild. And so even though what you shared was just, I found this happiness, it's great, and just trying to convey, like, it's beyond words, really, just extra
Yeah.
levels of smile. I think it's just such
Yeah.
a beautiful thing. So thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Did I see a hand over here? Camelot.
Yeah, with what Fluffy Puffy has said, I think that normally I never really listen to how I feel in live, and when I meditate, I think that's a good moment where I can feel what I really have inside me, you know.
Mm.
It may not be clear, but yeah.
Can I ask, when I hear that, I think of what I experience sometimes. I'm just doing lots of stuff, and then when I stop thinking and I'm just meditating, then I'm able just to like notice what my body feels like and what my emotions are. Is that what you
Yeah.
meant?
Yeah, it's what I meant.
Wonderful.
Mm.
I hope that also, as you keep meditating, you then notice the feelings perhaps transform, perhaps become more peaceful. Maybe the positive feelings become more beautiful. Maybe the harder feelings relax, and like you feel, well, at least for me, I'm hoping that my practice transforms how I feel, so that, like, I want to feel purely wonderful feelings. And every time I practice, I'm trying to shift my state of consciousness, shift my attitude, shift my perspectives, so that my way of being in the world is as beautiful as I can imagine. So I hope as you breathe, you notice how you're feeling, and then as you keep breathing, that then settles, and then you have a place of freedom where you're like, oh, do I want to go into more peace, or do I want to smile and giggle, or do I want to practice kindness? I have seen in some meditation practices this point of noticing what you are feeling is that's where they get to. Whereas for me, that's sort of just the beginning. And one thing that's really been a beautiful thing for me as I learned to watch my mind and watch my attitudes is seeing that feelings can transform so wildly. I had a time where there was some real stress with work, some real pressure. There had been some lies, and as I was walking into work, my chest was tight and I felt angry. And I wasn't really even aware of it. But as I was walking down the hall into entering the office, eventually I noticed, oh yeah, this is what I'm feeling. And then once I was aware of that, I decided, hey, I've got to practice what will help me here. So I imagined walking into work, feeling calm and clear, and my chest being really relaxed. I really practiced that feeling of my chest relaxing. And after a few weeks of that, walking into work, just really felt what I had practiced. So there's like one immediate thing where I noticed what I was feeling. And then I decided to shape it to what would help me. Ultimately, I'd like something even bigger for each of us, is not just responding to a circumstance or a feeling, but choosing what you'd like to create. I remember when I first discovered meditation, I was angry, I was sad, I was small, I was awkward, and I decided to practice being love, being confident, being powerful. And every day I practiced those feelings, and a few months later, my feelings were different, my mind was different, my whole life was different. So Camilla, I hope that response is helpful.
It was much of what I was expected. Thank you.
I was in a Buddhist discussion group this week, and someone was mentioning anger, and then somebody else, they were like, oh, sitting with your anger, it's what it's all about. And I was very surprised, because if you're mindful, you can notice what your mind's doing. And when we notice ourselves doing something with the right lens, what we're looking at kind of dissolves. And if you do that enough, then the things that make you angry, you're able to look at them through the eyes of love or understanding or power, or that thing makes me feel expressive and confident. And when you know that you can transform how you react to things, to me, the idea of like just sitting in the old reaction, it seems absurd, unconscious. And so it was interesting to me in this Buddhist group that someone was advocating so strongly for just being okay with what you're feeling. And my wish for each of you is that right now you choose to be completely okay, completely, with everything that was in your mind. You know, there's causes and conditions from your life that have led you to where you are right now. And, you know, there's people who spend years just trying to be okay. But then what comes next? So I hope that right now you decide to be completely okay with yourself. And then all that's left next is like, hey, what do I want to practice? What do I want to cultivate? What would be wise to cultivate? What would be empowering? Let me watch my mind and see that, hey, in each moment I have my consciousness. So I'm going to direct my consciousness. In every moment I'm practicing something. So I'm going to choose what to practice. Whether you're choosing what to practice or not, you're still practicing something. And so I encourage you to decide to choose all the time. Solarpunk.
When you mentioned reacting to things based on love or power, that got me interested. When you say power, do you mean say when you see something negative, you react to it as, ah, thank you for making me mindful. Now I have more power as a result. Was that what you were indicating with that?
Partially. That's a great example. It's not exactly what I was thinking, but that's definitely where I was hoping the word would take people. I was also meaning, let's say you see people speaking to each other in a way that's not nice, then you could imagine that you have a strong presence where you can point out kindness and consideration to each other. That's what I was meaning when I said
Oh,
power.
nice.
I was thinking of like expressed presence. But using things as a springboard for you to be more aware, 100%. That's also a beautiful form of feeling powerful.
Oh, I think I want to try both of those now, actually. Both the concept of, thank you for making me more mindful and powerful. Like when anything negative or horrible happens or whatever, I at least tell myself, oh, thank you for making me mindful and more powerful in this moment, because otherwise I wouldn't just out of the blue, think about the importance of mindfulness and the urgency. But also that idea of like projecting like your almost arahant-like powers to imagine projecting this energy to other people to help improve them and make them their best, most awesome possible selves. So that sounds like a fun thing to combine, actually, if possible.
So, for anyone who doesn't know, Arahant is a word for an enlightened being. And I wasn't actually thinking of projecting any kind of energy. I was meaning like the tones in your voice and coming up with the ideas that people would really hear. And maybe when people say energy, they might just metaphorically mean a way of capturing tone of voice and body language and ideas and the way you interact. But I'm careful to clarify, because if you're just thinking energy, then you'll be sitting in a cave meditating and not doing anything. It's wild how much freedom we have with creativity, with how we respond to things. Also, this week I was in a Buddhist forum online, and it's open to hundreds of people, or it's open to everybody. There's hundreds or thousands of people there, and someone through their algorithm suggestions had noticed a bunch of arguments and people being kind of rude, and they made a post about, oh, why is there so many rude people in the group? And my response to them was that there's lots of people here and they just happen to have noticed those people. But she could think of every one of those people as a gift. It's a chance for her to practice how to share kindness and consideration in a place where the people are hopefully more receptive. And, this is one example of a reframing. But I hope each of you can think of in your life, every week, there's so many different interactions, so many people you see, so many things going on, so many reactions that you have to things. Every one of them, you could have a different story, a different way of looking at it, a different word that you use to label it. You could even stop words altogether and just breathe and just see it and be free to choose exactly what you want to do next. So this idea of reframing, or stepping out of the stories you tell yourself and then being like your own storyteller or your own director of how you want to be, it's a powerful thing that I hope as we breathe and practice mindfulness, I hope you bring that awareness not just into how you feel, but into how you think and how you see things and how you talk about things. This awareness is so powerful. It's so, as we were saying with Gignificent, engaging your intellect. If you watch every one of the stories you have, stories about other things that happen, stories about yourself, the programs you have, the ways you react to things, the feelings that you just spontaneously create. If you watch all of these things, there's so many aspects to your mind. So learning to watch carefully is amazing, that you then get to see all these different aspects. And then you are also able to then practice. You know, we just did peaceful breathing. A few minutes felt good. The same thing, if your reaction to these people is rah, you become aware of it. It lessens it a bit. But then you can also spend some minutes imagining, wow, what if I reacted? Yeah. It's like every bit of your mind is a chance to practice feeling great and transforming it. And I really want to emphasize the practice. We were talking about accepting ourselves. And I mentioned people who take a long time struggling to accept themselves. I think when you combine the awareness that you can practice something to change it, it's so much better. Because if you see something and then you accept it, and then you're able to just spend time practicing the other way of being, it's like this beautiful gift to yourself. But if you don't spend time meditating on it, your old habit will probably just keep happening. And if you're expecting yourself to suddenly be better, expectations, when they don't match reality, will often cause upset. So, completely accepting yourself and then giving yourself this gift of practicing, I think, is a really beautiful way of relating to your own mind and moving through life. Solarpunk?
Yeah, one more question, if I may. One thing I haven't figured out how to deal with yet is when I'm in a public place and there's a TV playing a news channel. I don't normally watch TV because I don't like to see what's on TV. But usually I'm subjected anyhow, and it'll usually be about something like pro-war propaganda or something. I don't like wars. I'm not a fan of the propaganda and all the other stuff. And I'm trying to think of how to reframe that. On one hand, I could say, I'm at least this is making me mindful. This displeasure, this dislike I have is making me mindful. But are there any other techniques for dealing with that?
I had a decade where if there was a television on, I would just block it out so I couldn't see it. And I truly wanted everything that went into my mind to be as optimal as possible. And definitely in that decade, my mind was at its peak. I know that I was maybe a bit of a freak, but I'm sure it was worth it. Now, yeah, perhaps changing situations or changing direction so you don't see it may be an easy fix. Another thing is, if you're in a place and there's some people talking on the table next to you, and there's some people talking on the table over here, how do you deal with their conversations?
Similar manner. Actually, you can't just easily turn away, depending, if the situation is not something you're looking forward to. Once again, my only solution so far is just being happy and thanking myself for being mindful, and thanking the negative thing for allowing me to gain some more power of mindfulness. But that's all I have currently. And I hope NeoJex isn't glitching out right now.
I lost tracking. Sorry, everybody. I'm back. Can you guys hear me?
Oh, yeah. Glad I can hear you now.
Excellent. So the last thing I heard.
So you heard the last thing I said?
No, I asked. when there's people sitting here and there's people sitting here and they're having a conversation and they're having a conversation, how do you deal with it?
Are we talking about a negative conversation or just generic conversations of distraction?
Either.
It's usually just the tuning out. I mean, I think we all sort of automatically tune out conversations and stuff.
Yeah.
So, perhaps you could practice that feeling, just tune them out, and think about having the same attitude towards TV. And I know there's like intense stuff, and the TV, like, they try and just shape it in a way that blah, 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 blah. But I still would encourage you just to remember what it feels like to just tune out those other things and focus on what I'm doing and have the same attitude towards the TV.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
You know, I said I had a decade where I just wouldn't see the TV and how beneficial it was. And then having this attitude of just tuning out media that's not helpful. That's really good for me to say and to feel and to remember. So thank you. And I hope everybody, if you imagine having this attitude where like television or just random media, it's just blur. And what do I really want to put my attention onto? I think many of us will benefit by focusing more on things that are uplifting and helpful and focusing on the person you're with or the thing that you're doing. Thank you for the question, Solabunk. I think I've been in a restaurant once or twice where there was quite disturbing things on the TV, and I asked for the channel to be changed, and they did it. So that's another option too. All right. I suddenly feel like asking anybody who's new here, or maybe who doesn't get a chance to ask or say something very often, I'd love to hear what's on your mind, or your question, or anything you wanted to share from the meditation.
I missed, and I feel bad.
Hang on, let me just turn your volume up because I can't really hear you. Alright, Engineering Isaac, can I hear you now?
Yeah, I missed most of it, and so I feel bad.
Well,
Life tends to be busy, and that's the hard part.
well, I'm happy that you're here now. And let me respond to a bunch of things that you just said. So right now in the world, there are millions of amazing things that are happening. And we're here. And I hope that this is actually the best thing to do in the world right now. Is train your mind as beautifully and wonderfully as possible. But you know, we could all think about all the things we're missing out on. And sometimes that's actually good, to really think what's important to spend my time on. But when you're not asking that question, if you're just moving through your life, I would encourage us all to reframe the idea of missing. And reframe it to appreciating where I am while I'm there. So right now, Engineering Isaac, I'm giving you my attention and hopefully 25 years of the best brain programming I can relevant to what you're saying. And I hope that you're cherishing this and it will help you. But if a part of your brain is sitting there going, what did I miss in the first half? You'll actually not be soaking up the good stuff as much. And whether that's missing some of a class or missing someone who's gone away, if we're spending time in the feeling of missing, it's really not practicing the kind of feelings that make life more alive and more awesome and help us be more present. So I encourage us all to, wherever possible, frame things that we love being present with what we've got, making the most of what is there right now. Now, maybe, Engineer Isaac, you didn't actually mean, oh, I really feel bad that I missed it. Maybe you were actually just playing with words to mean like, oh, this is good. I've just arrived. And if that's what you meant, great, I'm glad you're here. Now, for everybody, I think we should all try to be careful with our words, because sometimes we use a phrase, this kind of a common phrase, like, oh, I missed that, or I'm sorry I missed that, when actually you don't feel the sense of missing. It's just like a way of saying, hey, the bit I saw was good. But the reason I think it's important to try and use the words that actually describe what we experience is because other people don't know what's going on. Engineering Isaac, I'm not sure what you meant or how you're feeling. I can only go with your words and the tone of your voice. And so trying to use the words that give other people nice feelings or a clearer understanding of you it's a wonderful practice. So I'm happy that you're here now, Engineering Isaac, and I hope you're bringing your attention and a positive intention that you're practicing your mind being more empowered and more aware and creating each moment to be great. Now, you also mentioned life's busy. You had stuff going on. That's why you were here late. I can respond to that a similar thing. If we just practice being present and enjoying or engaging with whatever we're doing, then that makes the things we have to do more of an experience that, hey, wherever we are right now, we get to make the most of it. And if you're really practicing being present and aware, if there are things that you're spending time on that aren't what you really want to be spending time on, you're more likely then to ask yourself, what do I want to be spending my time on?
Thank you for that.
And one last thought. I think many of us can relate to this. At some times in our life, we feel busy. We feel like there's a lot going on. And yes, sometimes there is a lot going on, but sometimes it's also kind of like we get in this state of mind, and then whatever else comes up, it feels busy too. I've definitely had some chapters where I kind of cultivated feeling more busy about everything. And I've noticed, I'm feeling like everything's busy and it's go, go, go. And yes, there are ways to feel driven and go, go, go and love it. Right now I'm talking about responding then if you feel like it's busy in a way that's like not so enjoyable. And so when I noticed that I got into that state of mind, I'd start saying to myself, hey, I got everything under control, one thing at a time, life's flowing really smoothly. And I'll say that to myself a bunch of times through the day and feel it more each time. And after a few weeks of saying that, I mean, a few weeks might sound like a long time, but if it then trains you that you're like resilient to busyness and have this steady feeling for a few years, it's worth it. So, Engineering Isaac, I hope you spend a bit of time imagining how you'd want to feel every day. What would be your attitude to all the stuff that's going on? And just practice that attitude and say it to yourself and feel it. So then your life rolls at the rhythm that you want it to roll. Fluffy Puppy, before we come... is that a response to what I just said, or is it another question?
Actually, I wanted to let you know that I gotta get off. I have a Yahtzee night tonight with my family.
Well, I hope you have lots of fun. You make everybody laugh, fill everybody up with love.
Yeah.
The best time you can.
Have an
It was
awesome
the-
evening, Fluffy.
You
Thanks
too,
for joining
Saber.
us.
It was lovely being here.
Pass our well wishes to your family. I'm just looking at the live chat. Creek posted, love you all so much. Every moment of practice is another leap for the universe. Much peace to you all.
Yes.
Now, if that sounds kind of far out, I actually think it sounds very real and accurate. And let me tell you why. When you're not being aware of your mind, you're just like your habits and your reactions, and you just go. And then so's this person, and so's that person, and so's all of society. And so you can just imagine the whole world. It's kind of just like this rolling response. And if somebody stops and practices another feeling, or if someone's in a family where everyone was always mean to each other, and they decide, hey, I'm going to be kind to my relatives, and then that changes generations onwards to be kind. Or if someone's in a place where lots of people are sad and they practice happiness, and it lessens other people's sadness or even brings joy to others, and then they have more of that to pass on, it literally has changed the path that the universe was on. When you go to practice peace, practice feeling okay, practicing happiness, you are literally reprogramming your brain, which is changing your future. Like actually changing the universe where your life would take you. And that's actually changing the lives of other people who you would interact with. We're actually changing the universe whenever we stop and apply our intention, which I think is amazing. So thanks for reminding us of that, Creek. Now, the philosophical among you might say, well, actually, we're practicing because we went to a class and somebody influenced us to do it. So we're also still just reacting to things. We just happen to have more chances to react positively. That may be true. But if that is true, I invite you to reflect upon that and put your intention onto, hey, I have this superpower that I could use. How do I optimize it? How do I engage my mind to be more than just the influences, to level up the goodness? So Creek, thanks for the thoughtful comment. He also sent a love heart to all of you. And Marlies sent us an awe with lovey smileys half an hour ago. Marlies, I'm sorry, I'm not sure what that was in response to. If you'd like to describe it, I'm sure we'd appreciate it. Oh, and there's a bunch of people on all the live streams right now. It's great to have you all here with us. To those who aren't in VR, I really love that VR has these quirky little things that we can do. So everyone in the crowd, I'm going to change the camera onto all of you, and let's just shower the audience in a field of love hearts. Everybody ready? Now on the camera, that might be kind of cute and nice, but actually being here and having them float all around you, I think it's super beautiful. So everybody out there, please come join us in VR. People from all around the world getting to sit together, to be together. Yeah. So, and for those of you who are here, I'm so happy to have you here. All right. So, what have we got next? Haku, I have a feeling there's something you are thinking about that would be really good for us to hear.
How could you tell? Well, I'm just enjoying the discussion about your existence, the way you think, breathe, move. It, changes things and challenges things. And it's always surprising what you can learn just by looking at a speck of dust. And I think you can look at your thinking and way of thinking as chaotic art or peaceful art. Both are okay to do. Make a big mess on the canvas, and you'd still achieve enlightenment just as much as, something immaculate.
What does enlightenment mean to you?
Oh, something where it's like, oh, this is good.
So I like to think of enlightenment not as one thing, but many different insights. So the camera, sorry, wasn't on you, Haku, but he said it's something like, oh, and yes, there are so many places that we can have these light bulb moments when you realize an attitude you've been holding for a long time that makes you be a certain way. And so you can change that and change your life. Or when you realize practicing kindness for everybody is who you really want to be. Or when you realize, well, as I was saying before, there's millions of different ways your mind is in different situations. So learning to see it, every time you see it, is freeing. Now, there's something Haku started with that I wanted to respond to. Earlier I was saying, watch your mind and how you react to how people talk. Or watch your habit in this part of your life. But Haku described it as, hey, just being aware of how you breathe and how you move. And that's completely true. If you just make your breathing feel a bit better, you'll feel better. If you practice your body posture or the speed in which your body moves, make it feel good, you'll feel good. And one of the reasons I love what you said is that makes me think about all the little tiny details. If I'm thinking about how I talk to someone, I could just imagine I'm nice to them, but I could also put in these happy little tones in my voice, or I could have a little wave in my finger. Oh, you guys can't see my finger, or I could there's so many little details where we can add in playfulness, where we can add in love or peace. Every little breath, every little moment, every aspect, there's just so many little bits to who you are, and every one of those little bits is like an infinite spectrum of how it could be. Haku, what did you want to say?
Oh yeah, you can inspire yourself through those actions as much as you can inspire the world around you.
Absolutely. In fact, one of my favorite times or things is when you start to see a practice working. It's like this self growing thing. Like if you do a happiness meditation and you're like, oh wow, I'm feeling a little smiley. And then the next moment of smiling meditation, you're a little bit happier because you know that, hey, I'm happier. And then you notice that, so then you're a little more happier. Or if you've been practicing love and kindness meditation and you notice, wow, I would have been angry about that before, but now I'm kinder, and that feels good. And so then the next kindness meditation you do, you're like, oh yeah, that feels good. And so then the next day, you got even more of that good feeling. And so often, practices can be that this self-goodness spiral that just gets better and better. And if that hasn't happened to you, that's okay. Just me putting the idea in your mind, you might start to notice it. You see some good thing you practice and it works a little or a lot, and you're like, hey, that worked a little. Hey! And that is like a springboard to do more of it. Solar Punk?
Yeah, if I may interject, going back to sort of the beginning as to why it all means so much, when you think about the three main advantages of meditation. One, how we become more mindful to the point where we can choose to act with things instead of just react mindlessly to things. And then second, where we become accomplished on the path when conflict no longer arises within us. Just that wonderful feeling. And with these two forces, the mindfulness and the lack of conflict arising in oneself.
Could you describe that second thing again a little more? When we get into...
When you become accomplished on the path, when we are accomplished on the path, we no longer have conflict rising within us. And as a result, we become a refuge to people and animals around us, a safe and healthy refuge to people and animals around us. So talk about benefiting the world.
You may have conflicts arise, but if you've been practicing mindfulness, hopefully you'll see the conflict quickly, and then you'll give yourself some peace, and you can look at it, give yourself some love, and then find a way to move back into that peace and harmony. And ultimately, when you practice that enough, you've trained yourself that you are that peace and harmony, or that refuge of tranquility, all the time. So, Punk, I love that you take us into such wonderful ideas. I hope it's okay that I interject and hopefully make it easier for everybody to follow.
Absolutely. I enjoy it, definitely.
So you were saying there's 3 benefits.
In fact, I would even add to that.
Okay.
Yeah. The third, well, I won't go too much into the third, but it affects you on many different levels. The non-supernatural level, at the very least, very provable, is if you're a lucid dreamer like myself and you find yourself in a disturbing anxiety dream of some sort, you're much more easily able to question reality. Or you see something negative and you say, oh, this is something negative. Or, oh my gosh, I think something bad's happening to my family. I better count my fingers or try to hold my hand over on my nose and try to breathe through my nose. And I can. This reality is not what I thought it was. Thank goodness for mindfulness. And now I can practice something awesome in this dream and like meditation mastery, or I can go pick up a mirror and talk to my subconscious and ask it questions about the future or whatever. Just fun stuff to see what it's like to talk with this other character. But it just puts you into that state. And Carl Jung called this building the golden body, which was his lifelong goal. Was the empowerment of the well, I won't go into that. But for me,
can I
was
jump
going to
into
say
that idea for a moment? So
Yeah,
some of you may have
go
been
for it.
able to use mindfulness or practicing being aware to make your dreams better. If you have, great. And I think that's a great example. You're having some kind of scary or upsetting dream, and you check in to be like, oh, wait, be aware what's going on. Oh, I notice I'm dreaming, and being able to snap out of it. That's great. But also, we can do the same thing in day-to-day life. Let's just say somebody said something. Many people have moments where they react to something somebody said, and they're like having this little nightmare in their head. Oh, that person doesn't like me. Oh, they're mean to me. Rah, rah, rah. And maybe the person had no ill intent at all. It's just you getting caught up in this little nightmare in your mind. And as soon as mindfulness kicks in, you can be like, oh, what's the story I'm telling myself? All right, what do I want to do instead? How can I transform how I react to this moment? And I mean, for this example, you could like do some kindness meditation. You could say, hey, did you mean that? Or you could do something super kind with them and make your friendship better. Like there's so many different ways you could react to that thing. But I'm meaning just in general, like think how often people in the world get caught up in their own like scary story or painful story. It's just like a nightmare. And by being aware of what you're doing in your mind, you can wake up and do something else in your mind. So, Solarpunk, thank you for that little nugget of inspiration. You were going on from there to say something else?
Yeah, there was one other thing. I'm thinking of a good name for them. So far, I'm just calling them karma gems or power badges or power crystals. Whenever I become mindful of the moment during meditation or just while watching stuff or while you're talking or anything is happening, if I feel this nice feeling that I'm aware, I'm mindful of my breath and of reality around me. You know, my reality is I know what my reality is now. Well, this is wonderful. This is powerful. Oh, I can feel the power in my hand, and I'm imagining sort of a gem, a crystal of good karma energy glowing here, and then I just sort of attach it to my chest or a different part of my body, and just let it, just sort of imagining that fuse into me, and I just can attach more of these. And I find the feeling is nice for if I do end up in a negative dream state. I can just briefly go over all my power gems of accomplishment, of mindfulness, of, slowly gaining power to become a greater force ghost or, whatever I want to call myself at that point. So little karma gems, right? And it seems like a fun idea that you're producing these new gems of power.
Program them in as assets in VR. So we can actually just attach them to
our
avatar.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Kind of reminds me of the Boy Scouts or Scouts. They learn to set up a tent. They get a tent badge. They learn to do compassion meditation for a year. They get a love all beings badge. Or I don't know if the Scouts do that. But you can imagine, like, it doesn't have to just be the Scouts. I would love to see that as something that we do in our life. Like, your clothes or your expression, just showing things you've cultivated and gifts that you have for the world. So, Solarpunk, let's definitely do that, at least in VR, if not as actual badges or things we can take into our real life.
Oh yes, been thinking about that.
And something I want to reiterate from what Solarpunk just said. For every one of you, I'm sure there are moments where you've practiced peace and you got into peace. Or you've practiced happiness and you've had some moments where you're happier. Or you've practiced mindfulness and you notice something. And the more you remind yourself of those gems, the more your mind's like, yeah, that's something I can do. That's something I can do more of. So I actually am going to just stop for a minute, and I want us all just to remember ways that you've brought yourself peace or happiness, or you've done something with your attention in a way that was helpful for you. Thank you, Solarpunk. I don't know about for everybody else, but for me, that was awesome.
Glad to share.
Let me just do a quick time check. All right. It's almost time for our closing meditation. So I'm open for taking requests for the theme for the guided meditation. And if there's any last questions or discussion points that anyone wants to share before we begin our meditation, we've got time for just a little more before we dive in.
If
Yes,
there's nobody
Cole?
suggesting a subject, I do have one. Yeah, if nobody else has anything to offer, I was just going to ask if you could lead us on a little bit of metta. Do you ever guide metta meditations?
I love to guide kindness and compassion meditation. In fact,
I always need more of it.
I used to guide many a week, so it's wild to hear you asking if I do. Obviously, I'm not doing them enough. Cool. And before we dive into that, let's just do a quick recap and try and remember the topics we covered tonight, just so that if there were any gems, we can remember them. So, Gignificent started us off with having an analytical mind, and how do you bring that in alignment with practicing. And can anyone else remember other topics we covered today? Haku was saying how just noticing each little moment, how you breathe, how you move, and that this positive awareness can then make you even more aware and feel better.
And the focus could be anything, perhaps even little dust particles.
Yeah, noticing how you think or how you see things as insights everywhere. Fluffy Puppy mentioned that in our first meditation, she was doing a smiling meditation, and she got to a new level of happiness that was wow, just wow, beyond what she had words for.
When you remember, that's part of achieving the first jhana state, right? Leaving your breath point and going to the smiling, the good, happy feeling point, and then letting that become your main point until it actually leads you into the first altered state of consciousness.
As some people define it, yes. For anyone who doesn't know the word jhana, that's a description of being completely immersed in meditation, where it feels really amazing. So,
and you can sometimes experience fascinating phenomena. Yeah.
Was there a topic that you brought up?
Oh, my personal favorite are the karma crystals, the little gems that you create out of your good mindful acts, and then you add them like armor, spirit armor, to your body, and your body just becomes empowered with more and more spirit armor the more of these gems you attach to it.
Awesome. And engineering, Mr. He left now, but he was saying about he missed this. So we talked about practicing being present and enjoying the moments that we have, and being careful with the words we use for how we describe things to help our own minds and to help others. Did anybody else have any
reframing
gems, anything from tonight that you really appreciated, you just felt like reminding us all of, or reminding yourself of?
I wanted to bring up the fact that you said you can react to situations or negative situations with not just love or peace, but also with power. And that really transfixed me. My mind is still sort of spinning around that concept about the different ways I could project my own positive feelings in a powerful way towards others, among other things.
I also liked the moment where I said, you're always practicing something, so you may as well choose to practice what you want to. Every feeling you're doing, you're practicing that feeling. So choosing to actually practice what you want, to shape the future that you want.
And just as the Siddhartha, the Buddha himself said, the mind is everything. What you think you become.
Mm-hmm. So, speaking of that, we're going to dive into a kindness meditation. If you've never done kindness meditation before, it's basically practicing kindness. It can be kindness to yourself, kindness to those you love, kindness to friends, to acquaintances, to people, to all beings. And there are different forms of how people do the meditation traditionally, but they generally start with each of those steps: someone close, an acquaintance, a stranger, and then maybe someone who did you wrong. And bit by bit, you grow more kindness, so it's easier to send kindness out to those different groups. I like to do more of a freestyle version where some of the most beautiful kindness gems that I've had, I like to put them into the meditation. And not necessarily do those 4 stages, but see where the art takes us. So, let's all get ourselves comfortable. Close your eyes and just start with the intention. If I practice kindness and understanding, I'll be happier. I'll be more patient. I'll enjoy people more. And my kindness, my patience, my calm, it'll make other people feel good. So I'm setting the intention to practice kindness and compassion. So we'll start by taking some peaceful breaths and just let your body and your mind be soothed. Imagine everything else is disappearing. You're stepping into a dream where all that exists is you and kindness and the people that you choose to practice the kindness for. And we're going to start by bringing to mind a best friend. And imagine that you're looking at the best friend. Perhaps you could imagine what it feels like when they're close by. Perhaps you could imagine smiling at them. If no one's come to mind yet, or lots of people have come to mind, just decide to pick one person. And then look at this person, concentrate on them. You can ask yourself, if I was able to just choose how they would feel, what would I wish for them? Would I wish for any of their suffering to be gone? Would I wish for them to have peace and calm? Would I wish for them to know that I care about them and for them to feel loved by the people who do care about them? Would I wish for them to be happy? And so look at them and imagine if right now they knew you were wishing these positive feelings for them. And just let yourself feel the caring. We mentioned earlier a positivity spiral. So if you're noticing the caring, let yourself enjoy it. We're going to meditate on more caring. So look at them and let yourself feel wishing an even more beautiful joy or happiness or care for them. I mean, if you could wish for them to be in a wonderful mood, would you? If you could wish for them to be comforted, to have peace, to have wisdom or strength, would you? How deeply comforted? How calm? How happy? And imagine them again feeling the kindness, the care, the positive intention you have for them. Imagine they knew that you're thinking directly of them, loving them, caring for them, and wishing such positive feelings for them. And now you can make this meditation real. Imagine next time you see them that the tones of your voice will be filled with this care, or joy, or happiness. That the things you say to them will be kind, and that you'll give them all the positive things you just wished for. And next I invite you to imagine that they're meditating on kindness for you. With slow, deep breaths, letting yourself really imagine and feel and receive kindness and love that they would probably wish for you. And perhaps in your mind you'd like to say thank you to them. And then we bring our mind to another dear friend or family member. Maybe it's someone who you laugh with, or someone who supports you, someone who teaches you, someone you have fun with, someone who you share a lot of time with. If a few people came to mind, just let yourself appreciate that. Not everybody has that. And now we all just choose one person. And we're going to notice that putting our attention on this person feels different. Every person has their own unique presence. We're going to appreciate that and love that. And as we send this person kindness, the kindness we're practicing will just become richer and richer and more beautiful. So hold this person in mind and appreciate them. Remember times you laughed together, or they cared for you. If you haven't chosen somebody yet, let yourself pick somebody. You can appreciate things that you appreciate about them. And then you look at them again and you let yourself wish well for them. That they feel cared for. That they are safe. They are comfortable. That their mind is comforted. And I invite you to look at them and then imagine looking into their eyes and looking into them. And you know some of their stories from life, but realize that there's so much more to them. Let your mind see all of them, their childhood, all those years, their teenagehood, all the different chapters through their life, the things that helped them be strong, the things that hurt them, the things that shaped them to be a certain way, the things that shaped them to be another way. And then I invite you to look at every one of those moments inside this person and send love and caring and understanding. Filling their whole being with compassion. Now this is your meditation, so I invite you to make it more beautiful. What would make it better for you? Would you like to be filling them with joy? Would you like to be wishing them comfort? Would you like to take the feeling you've cultivated and just immerse yourself in it more? Reminding yourself that what you practice, you have more of. You're filling your life with more kindness and understanding, more joy, more positivity, more comfort. Breathe into it. You're sending it to them but you're also becoming it in yourself. And then I invite you to imagine if you could see your closest friends and family. Whoever comes to mind, maybe a few more people. And as you look across them, imagine seeing every one of them with that same depth, seeing the lifetime inside every one of them, and to every one of their moments, hoping they feel loved, cared for. And you can make it real as you think of each person and see them through the lens of beautiful caring and kindness. You can practice. Next time I see them, what's the presence that I want to bring? The tone of my voice, the way I look at them, the things I say. And now imagine all of these friends and family members looking at you. And let yourself appreciate the care, the kindness, the appreciation that they have for you. Perhaps you noticed so many things you care for or appreciate that you haven't said. And so let yourself appreciate the care and kindness coming to you that maybe has never been said. And perhaps you'd like to decide to say the caring and the kindness, to say the things you appreciate, to say, hey, I really hope you're okay. I do really care about you. I appreciate you. I want to be there for you. I want to be able to talk about the things you need to talk about. I hope you're happy. When I think of you, I wish joy for you. I wish care for you. I wish comfort for you. And now imagine if you were to do this 10-minute meditation every day, and every day the feelings that you just made would get sweeter, deeper, more beautiful. The comfort in your voice will become more automatic. The power of your positivity would become more beautiful, more lovely. The way you appreciate others would become more sweet. Your experience of each day more enriched. And then I invite you to imagine that you are sitting in front of you. It's like you've stepped out of your body and you're looking at yourself. And I invite you to look at yourself and feel caring. To feel comfort. To feel the intention to be kind to yourself. To be encouraging to yourself. To speak to yourself kindly and wisely. You know, if you had a friend and you could watch their mind, the way you treat them, and so as you look at yourself, you can watch your mind. So how you treat yourself. Perhaps you'd like to say to yourself, I'm a great coach for myself. I'm a great friend to myself. I'm practicing being a wonderful enlightenment teacher for myself. And I invite you to take your hands and wrap them around your body and give yourself a hug. And think of everybody who you also meditated on tonight. And just wish for all of them to also be kind to themselves. Or to be amazing to themselves. And that you can help them be kind to themselves. And they can help you be kind to yourself. To infuse more love and support into all the people. And then you let the hug rest. We're just going to finish with the thought of how beautiful it is to be mindful. To watch what you think and what you say. How precious it is to practice. And as you start to come out of meditation, and you move from your meditative mind to your thinking mind, I invite you to remember the people you meditated on and think of them. Think of things you might say to them, or remember how it felt, how you want to talk to them. Maybe when we leave here, you might even want to reach out to them and Say something nice to them. So thank you all for joining us for the kindness meditation, and for our discussion, and for our peace meditation at the beginning of the session. I love to be reminded of positive practices. I love to spend time in the positive practices, and I hope that is also good for you. Let's just take a moment to remember the nice feelings you felt in meditation. And anything that you practiced that you can keep practicing. And any insights you had or perspective changes that you can carry with you every day. And then you can imagine, as you practice, your most peaceful self, your wiser self. It's a gift to your future. And imagine the kindness and warmth in all your circles of friends. And imagine eventually the whole world being loving and wise. Every time we practice, know that you're steering the universe towards that world. So you just have a moment to imagine if everybody in the world received your love and positive intention. So thanks to everybody who joined us. I'm about to stop the live stream. If you enjoyed the live stream, please share it with others. Leave some questions, some comments. The more people meditate, spend time in awareness and practicing kindness, the more wonderful the world is. And to those of us who are here, once I stop the live stream, we'll make our way out and